New vistas, new voices, new views, new visions, new victories. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we're taking public media black.
Thank you, Andy. JoJo's voice is a little too high for me to hit, so I'm gonna mouth it. When they were at the house on the beach. They were in a house in like Malibu, and it was really raining, and they were each on the floor. So when you need a little peace of mind, come on over, boy, anytime. I'll keep you happy and so satisfied. In my house. So welcome into hour 2 of RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Had to get it started with that good Mary Jane Girls in my house. Listen. I told y'all already.
Before you go, Jill.
Yeah.
What was the poppin' dance at this time?
Oh, I think it was just, a side to side. I don't feel like to this song in particular, because I want to say this is about 84-ish, 85 when it dropped. So, we were still kind of break dancing and coming off that. It was the ushering in of hip hop and things of that nature. But you still had, them sexy girls that were up there giving it to you. What? I thought I was a little bit of everybody. I wanted to be JoJo because she had the braids and she was tough. And then what was the one? The white girl with the blonde hair. Maxie. Yeah. I liked Maxie because she would wear the fishnets and the leather. I liked Candy because she was dressed up and supposed to be sophisticated. And I liked Cherry/Corvette because she was a valley girl, and that's what I felt I was.
Always with the prom dress on.
At the time. Absolutely. And some polka dots sometimes. I love it. Listen. Don't talk to me. I know my music.
It's such a great time in music.
Before we get back into Annie's story, right? We have to hit some of these trending topics and headlines.
Yes, and get Annie's opinion on the trending topics.
Right.
Because she knows a lot of the trending topics.
I know she does. You can plead the fifth and move around if it is one of your... Urban Spinster says, what were we doing listening to these songs in elementary school? Listening, being grown, projecting into the future. I know
Singing the wrong words.
Right.
Thinking that we knew what they were talking about.
Because let me tell you... This is going to sound crazy. Maybe I'll save that story for another time. I was about to tell you what Vanity had me thinking I was going to do one day.
Oh, tell her.
Yeah, I want to hear this too.
This is so random. Okay. And I ended up meeting Vanity when I was in junior high school because she lived in my friends. They lived in the same condo complex in Century City. But Vanity did Playboy, right? She was a Playmate spread. It was kind of tasteful. That's when Playboy in the 80s, they had all the soft filters and stuff like that. I was like, you know what? That's empowering. I'm going to do Playboy. So I can't really talk about the Instagram vixens out here. I'm going to be Playmate of the Year. I didn't seriously think that, but I thought that. It crossed my mind. I was like, I can do that. I'm going to do that. Never even came close.
I can't. After etiquette school, huh? That was your thought?
After charm school?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
That was good, potentially be a possibility.
See, I love that because that just means that she told you to embrace your womanhood and be sexy.
I mean, that's
and it
what
was
I
okay.
felt.
And that's what I think music gave that to women back then. And now there's so many things talking about women badly, but I feel like that music just really taught you to be bad and proud and
but I think
stand in heels and be sexy and okay with it.
Don't you think it was more sensual though? I think music now is just, sometimes there's a time to be really raw and just out there, but I think that there's something to sensuality and the suggestion of things, not just overt, that kind of tainted those things back then. Like Candyman. What was Candyman? Right? Like, yeah.
But it left something to the imagination.
Exactly.
And you had to think about it. Like Trent said, maybe you didn't know what all the words meant, but it sure made me look things up and trying to figure out and ask questions. And I think that's what's important.
Vocabulary expanded. Learned a lot of things.
I learned the Lord's Prayer through Prince. He did the Lord's Prayer.
At the end
yes,
of,
he did.
Yep.
And that's how I learned the Lord's Prayer. I mean, I don't know if that's good or bad. But yeah, I mean, so Prince went from like sex god to the Lord's Prayer.
You know what I felt like about Prince? I feel like if Michael Jackson was the boy next door, right? The sweet guy, like, that people were, at that time, Prince was the bad boy that taught you about cigarettes and sex. And you, like,
Yes.
you got your liberation through whether it's just conversation or y'all actually hooked up. I feel like that's kind of the way that I saw them, because I think about, like, I had heard some earlier songs, but the first Prince album, I remember a friend at school had the the 1999 double album. And I was like, I want to listen to that. And so he was like, I'll give you this album, this side. And it wasn't the side with 1999 and stuff like that. It was the side that had, I guess, maybe Let's Pretend We're Married, Automatic and all. And that's how I fell in love with Prince. So not the singles, but the beast, like the other side. And I wore it down. And after that point, like, something crazy in my life, I've owned on vinyl, on cassette, on CD, and then now on streaming every Prince album multiple times. Like,
and
all
remember,
of those.
that's when they had the lyrics on the album,
yes.
So you could read along with it, and you're like, oh my God.
And that art when you would fold out the albums and stuff,
Liner
all the
notes.
Prince posters.
Yes.
Yes.
God.
We miss those.
I miss
all
those.
of that. So we're gonna start this off, and then we're gonna take a slight pause and then come back. But so Diddy is suing the distributors of his liquor line. They were the ones who responsible for De Leon and Ciroc. They put it out, and they have come to a sort of pause with Diddy accusing them of not investing fully into the liquor brand, and that the reasons behind it were, maybe because of race, a little bit involving that. Well, they're now, and I should say that the parent company, Diego, they're also own Johnny Walker. So that's a brand that you're familiar with from them. So they are countersuing Diddy, saying that he funneled more than $100 million into the venture while he only contributed $1,000 and the promissory note to get started, and acted more as a brand ambassador than an owner. We'll get into more details on the other side. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Heart failure, carpal tunnel syndrome, shortness of breath, stomach issues, lower back pain. How does it all add up? If you have heart failure and any of those seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, it's time to talk with your cardiologist and get the full picture. They may add up to transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy. ATTRCM is a rare and underdiagnosed disease. Recognize the signs and discuss them with your doctor soon. Learn more at connectwithyourheart.com. That's connectwithyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
1 in 4 Americans today are living with a disability. I'm one of them. People with disabilities are extremely talented, resilient problem solvers that have so much to offer. And we've got a trusted ally on our side, an organization we can rely on, Easter Seals. Easter Seals is leading the way to full equity, inclusion, and access to healthcare, employment, and education for people with disabilities, families, and communities. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours.
Learn more and get involved at easterseals.com.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for education as a right, not a privilege. Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science is a private, non-profit, community-founded, student-centered university committed to cultivating diverse health profession leaders who are dedicated to social justice and health equity for underserved populations. CDU does this through outstanding education, clinical service, and community engagement. Recently, Charles Drew University made history by opening only the 5th medical school at an historically black university. Congratulations, South LA, and congratulations to the Dean of the medical school, Dr. Deborah Protho-Stith. CDU is now training doctors and providing $90 million in annual economic benefit to Watts and surrounding neighborhoods. To apply for medical school, get more information, or sign your child up for the Junior Doctors Saturday School program, visit cdrewu.edu. That's cdrewu.edu. At KBLA, we are dedicated to equity in education and ending healthcare apartheid. And we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So we are here with Annie of Soul Delicious LA. We were just sharing with her how I'm getting a little sleepy because I ate just a tad sleepy. That's what happens when you have a good meal.
Do we have trending topics right now? Or I wanted to ask you something.
Go to ask her. We can get back.
How does it feel knowing, and people tell you all the time, that you have the best soul food in LA? Out of all the other soul food places, what does that feel like? And do any other owners, especially the black ones that have like the legacy places, do they ever come give you any mess for being the best soul food in LA? For taking the number one spot.
Okay, everybody has their opinion of what's the best. Number one,
but it's the best. Come on,
a compliment.
I mean, I've seen the Yelp reviews.
Thank you. It's such a compliment that I still don't feel like it's real, because, like I said, we started with this Sunday thing, and I never intended to be a restaurant owner or a soul food restaurant owner. So it's just a blessing. I just think it was my path in life, and that sometimes you end up on your path without really expecting to be there. And it's by the glory and grace of all my customers and my friends and my family that have supported me. So I'm just so blessed. Like, you say that and I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much.
But I'm not the only one that says it, though.
I know.
Like, you've got the LA food guy saying it. You've got the Yelp review saying it. You've got people saying it.
I know. But,
it's really good
thank
food,
you.
though,
Thank
honestly.
you. I really appreciate that. I just have to say that I really do it out of the love of it. I love the history of soul food. I love the time that it takes. I love that it's slow and slow. It's like everything that's not popular in our culture right now is soul food. It's like it's what people need to slow down and eat and take their time and spend time with and commune over, and we get to break down barriers and we get to eat together. And it's the one place that everybody's equal, and it's more than just the food. It's the interactions with the people and just everything surrounding it. I just love it.
How do you feel knowing that your food brings people together in this city?
It's my favorite thing. I mean, I've had people hug me and cry because it reminded them of their grandmother's stuffing, or this lady one time, my black eyed peas made her cry because her mother had just passed. But it's like a hug. Food is like a hug, and so many people are so separate from each other right now, especially after COVID. And sometimes you just need something familiar and loving, whether it's a real hug or a food hug. It's just a blessing to have people accept me, to have people allow me to cook for them, because there's 100 different restaurants that they can choose from every night. And the fact that they choose me is just a gift. I mean, I'm utterly just still surprised by it and blessed. And that's why I'm here with you.
And
that's why I met you tonight.
I
And like, I
know.
feel like everything happens for a reason. And we've been talking about this for a long time, and it just happened tonight. And, you know, I can just tell by your energy that you're just like solid and wonderful. And like the way you listen to music, it's like, you're my people. And that's
we
the
are
thing.
here. I want to ask you really quick, if you have a question. What is your favorite food or meal to cook?
Oxtails.
Oxtails. hands
Yeah,
down.
girl. It
We were
didn't
just
even
talking
take
about
a minute
that. Oxtails.
because it's the one thing that people are a little bit nervous to try because they don't know what a tail is. Or for some reason, I think they think it's like the butthole of the cow, but it's
It
not.
does kind of feel that
I
way.
know, but it's not. And it's you know, again, if you know about soul food, it was a throwaway food. Nobody wanted the tail, and these people hundreds of years ago said, okay, I'm going to make this into the most delectable thing there is. And like Italians eat oxtail. They make ragu out of it. Asians eat oxtails. Hispanics, like everybody eats oxtails, but it was for poor people. And now they're, you know, $12.99. And if you go
Right.
to Whole Foods and they're $15.99 or $18.99, but it's just something. And the collagen in it is good for you. There's just so many things that are good about oxtails, but it's the love that it takes to make them. Because I can tell you, if you're in a bad mood, you can taste it. We've had bad periods where like maybe the dressing was too salty, and I can just tell somebody who was in my kitchen wasn't right. And, you know, you have good days and you have bad days, but just food is love. And that's just how
What
I
do you
hug
do with
people.
the adversity when you know that something is like off in the kitchen or the vibes are bad? Like, how do you handle that?
You know what? Shit happens. I've just learned that, like, before, if something went wrong, I'd be like, oh my God, this is the end. They're not going to like me. They're not going to trust me. But during COVID, it was tough. I mean, we struggled to stay alive. And it wasn't just the financial struggle, it was just finding consistency in people. But I really think we have it locked down now. And people are usually forgiving. And if I do get a bad comment, and I talk to everybody, I go home at night and I answer every single comment on Instagram. If I post something and there's 82 comments, and since we've been looking to move and get out of our place, and I like make these videos like free so delicious, and people are sending me listings. Like sometimes they're in Palmdale, but I'm like, okay.
But it's the point. They're making the effort,
But
right?
I go home and I thank every single person, because without all those people, and even if they're in Texas, I would not be able to provide for my son the way I do or do what I love for a living. And I have to be grateful for that. And even for the bad comments, because sometimes they'll make me think, okay, maybe you need to double check that. I mean, it's just growth. And I got to grow through this. I got a lot to go.
I know that's right. Andy, I saw you.
Yeah. So I dabbled in the culinary industry. I worked at the airport, flipping burgers, Terminal 4, and also
Shout out to the American Terminal.
Oh, you already know.
Yes.
And I also worked at the Beverly Wilshire. One of the things that kind of discouraged me, because I like to cook as well too, but one of the things that discouraged me, or maybe not really like the culinary industry, is the fact that, you know, everything needs to be fast, right? And for me, you know, not that I'm slow in the kitchen, but like, you know, I like to take my time in the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the food comes out better when you take your time doing it. You know, you being a restaurant owner, I understand that you got to speed things up a little bit. Like, how do you feel with regards to, you know, cooking stuff fast or cooking stuff slow, being a business owner? Like, how do you feel regarding that?
Well, I believe all of our food is slow and low cooked. You can't stop that. We start cooking on Tuesday oxtails because that's like a 6-hour process. So I get it, but customers don't care. They want it fast. Like, even they'll order, like, everybody kind of has this drive-through mentality that and kids nowadays, especially, or young people nowadays, everything's instant to them. Yeah. So they'll walk in, they're like 30 minutes. They're like, huh? And I'm like, yeah, you know, we got to cook it.
It's from
there's
scratch.
Like people ahead of you. So, you know, you got to, I know what you're talking about, but you kind of got to find that fine line. But the good part about soul food is that we can cook it on Tuesday and keep cooking it through the week. And, we fry our chicken fresh and our catfish fresh. But the longer those oxtails sit, the better that they are. The longer that gumbo stews in the pot, the better that it is. So there is a balance. But yeah, people don't want to wait nowadays. People call and complain. That would be like our number one complaint, is that the food took too long. But,
It's from
I'd rather it be right.
Yeah.
And you wait and it be raw. Like, who wants raw chicken?
Right, like, this chicken's a little undercooked. No, we don't want
I always
those
hope
problems.
it's worth the wait. And but I understand people are impatient. But again, it's just society and where we are. Dinner used to take a couple hours. Remember?
Yeah, not anymore. Not when you got Uber.
That's why nobody cooks Thanksgiving anymore. It's so funny because I have these ladies that are like 70 years old that come in, or they're like, "Can you make my Thanksgiving meal?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "I've cooked all my life. I just want to sit down and enjoy somebody else cooking." And I don't think people understand the time that it takes to dice all the onions and the celery and the bell peppers
And
to
shred the cheese. And
Yeah, because I don't buy shredded cheese. We
And the
shred our
stirring.
cheese. Right. And the
Yes.
constant watching and the walking around. And by the time you taste all of it, you don't really want it. Like, you want it a day later. But yeah, it's just, there's a lot of love and energy and your heart and soul that goes into cooking. And yeah, maybe you can flip a burger quick, but real food takes a while.
And that's when you're putting that love into it.
Yeah,
You
but they
taste
got
it
that
afterwards.
clock at those fast food restaurants. And if you don't get your customer in and out in a minute 38, like, you get fired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why it tastes like that.
Yes, it is.
Trent, did you have any more?
Jill.
Yes.
No.
Okay.
This is great.
Thank you for having me,
Of
you
course.
guys.
But I want to say thank you too, because what people don't know too is that you do charity events. You do a lot of giving back to the community, a lot of raffles and things like that. So thank you for that as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Trent.
And there is a comment in the chat. Make sure that you are local and don't move out to Palmdale, please.
Oh, no, I am not moving to Palmdale. I love the fact that they want me there. And this guy was like, "I got a restaurant in Vegas for you right now." But I have a 17-year-old son who goes to school locally. So I need to be here for at least the next 3 years and get him up and out of the nest. And then I can expand and go places. But I'm staying in L.A.
Would you think
I'm a
about
native.
doing that? Listen,
Me
three
too.
natives,
I know.
4 natives. We can't leave Andy out. Native LA. I said 4. I said 3 at first. I almost left you out. I had to include you. We're rare. We're a special breed.
We are.
I think that it gives us a different type of mix because, like, your story, how you grew up, you're not going to get that in Houston, Texas. And that is no shade. That is no disrespect. And,
It's very
which
local
things-
to LA.
But it's a
Yeah.
very LA story, just the different people that touched you and the connections with them and how it was just normal and regular, but very sweet and touching, but these are, again, as we mentioned, legendary people that are iconic.
Did you mention
in
NWA?
entertainment.
So that's funny. So my dad.
'Cause I'm like, wait.
She left something out.
I'm like, before we close, did you mention NWA? 'Cause
So my dad, who again is amazing. Like, if you guys want a real story, you should talk to my dad one day. But my dad took a chance on rap music when nobody did. And he was the first promoter that allowed rap music in his building. He ran a theater in Anaheim called Celebrity Theater. And NWA were my friends. I mean, it's funny because my son was like, "Are you sure you didn't date them?" And I was like, "No, they were my friends." But, Eazy-E lived out in the valley. And I remember, like, when I heard this, and I was driving down the street and I saw these white kids just like bouncing their head. And I rolled down my window to listen to what they were listening to, cruising down the street in my 6'4". And I was like, oh my God. So it's amazing. Oh no, no cursing. So yeah, it's amazing because we were around for all of that. And, that falls into the Darlene story and the Ice-T story. And I was allowed to be around all of that. And it's truly a blessing. And it's funny because people are always like, "Oh, you can't be from LA. You're so warm and this." And I'm like, that's who LA people
That's
are.
Thank
originally,
you.
It's
yes.
the
They don't
transplants that give LA a bad name. But people who are born and raised here, we're just an authentic, amazing bunch.
Laid back. We like a different environment. We're
Yeah.
accepting of all different types of things because I feel like we grew up with that. A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
We had
and it makes an
everything.
interesting stew,
We
right?
had the beach, we
and
had
the
the
beach.
ocean.
That's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. The beach.
And
all of
everybody
that.
went to Venice Beach. And like, again, I grew up in a time where it was less polarizing. People kind of didn't care. Like, if you were at the beach, you were at the beach. You know, it didn't make a difference.
In the speech on a Sunday.
Yes.
Annie, okay, so you have to tell where everyone can find you on social media. We need the address of the temporary location so they can show up and pledge you. And we didn't even talk about the fact that you have a secret menu. I know we made a little mention to it.
Did you?
In addition to,
she did research.
I did my research. I looked at the Yelp reviews. I really did. I went through and I was looking and looking at all the comments, and I was like,
that's because I have a whole bunch of spoiled customers that are like, can you do this? Can you do this? That's how we ended up with the smothered chicken, because one of Nicholas's football coaches was like, you need the West Beasy special, smothered chicken. And I'm like, okay. We had like 6 things on the menu when we started. Okay, so let me answer this question. We are at 615 Northwestern in Los Angeles near Melrose. It's just takeout and delivery right now. But if you come in and you want to meet me, I'm there 90% of the time. My handle on Instagram is SoulDeliciousLA, because I'm proud of where I'm from.
That's right.
And the restaurant is technically called Annie's So Delicious. Half of them just call it Annie's. Even though my name is Annalisa and my customers know I hate Annie, it is what it is because I named the restaurant that. And I'm everybody's auntie. Aunt Annie, Aunt Annie. And there was one other question. Did I miss something? Oh, the secret menu. Yeah, we have like a fried catfish sandwich. Some of the things have made it to the menu. We are launching something next week that I'm not allowed to talk about because it's a Uber thingy. And they are launching it. Okay, I'm just
check back next week.
Uber won't be listening, but we're doing oxtail loaded fries. But these are things that my customers ask for, that they're like, can I get this?
Y'all hear that? Listen, the exclusive on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
And it's launching with Uber, so that means that you can order it from Uber Eats exclusively.
Yeah, well, we've been exclusive on Uber Eats, but this one product will only be on Uber Eats for a while. We made a little agreement with them. But we do a lot of things, and people call me and like, can I get this? And I'm like, yes, give me a half hour. Let me roll them egg rolls. But yeah, we always list our specials at the beginning of the week. And if there's something you want to see, text me, call me, DM me. I answer everything, and it's me, nobody else. And I'm going to try and make it happen for you.
Listen, once again, thank you so much to Annie of Soul Delicious LA. Go get you some of that. Indulge. Relax. Follow her on Instagram too. The videos are entertaining, and you get to see beautifully plated soul food.
And not only that, the portions are amazing. Like, if you want to take like half of the food and eat, like, you can eat. I take when I order stuff, it takes me the whole weekend to eat it because I can't eat all of it at one time. The portions are nice and huge and very worth the amount that you spend.
Thank you.
So, I mean, obviously, we could talk to Annie all night about food, about music history, all of that. But thank you so much for gracing us with your presence and with food. We're definitely going to hit a picture up. When we come forward, we're going to get into that story about Puffy, the rest of the details, Diddy, Puffy, whatever you want to call him at this point in time. Love. We're also going to get into SZA and her comments about her relationship with Drake and the fans thinking that her brand is Insecurity. And then remember, in hour 3, we're going to talk about pretty girl privilege. Does it exist? Is it a real thing? We're going to get into all of that and more. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Doug Davis with the latest from the Black Information Network. Baltimore police are searching for suspects in connection with last night's shooting that left 5 people injured at HBCU, Morgan State University. Police believe the shooting stemmed from a dispute between 2 smaller groups, and the 5 people who were shot were not the intended targets. All are expected to survive. In Mississippi, the undersheriff of the Rankin County Sheriff's Office has resigned. Paul Holly held the position for just 4 months, although he did not give a reason for his departure. His resignation comes after 5 former sheriff deputies deputies and one former Richland police officer all pleaded guilty to torturing and beating 2 black men while in police custody. Today is National Taco Day. Americans are celebrating their love of beef, cheese, and lettuce folded up in a crispy tortilla. And you won't have to shell out much money either, because restaurants across the country will be offering deals and discounts on tacos. And that is the latest. I'm Doug Davis from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. At Blindster, we offer over 50 different custom window treatments, including faux wood blinds and shutters, all at prices less than retail. Plus, we'll send you free samples before you buy. Don't hire an expensive pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
We boldly go where no man has gone before.
Boldly taking talk radio where it has never gone before. New vistas, new voices, new views, new visions, new victories. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we're taking public media black. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Tired of being locked out of job opportunities and shut down by systemic racism? KBLA stands with you in fighting for the rights of black workers, and we don't black down. The Los Angeles Black Workers Center is a dynamic alliance of workers, organized labor, community-based organizations, clergy, students, and scholars, working collectively to improve the position of the black working class. The LA Black Workers Center takes a comprehensive approach to addressing the black jobs crisis. Their programs promote access to quality jobs, racial equity in hiring and retention, discrimination-free job sites, and they prepare black workers for employment in high-wage, career-track jobs. The Black Workers Center supports workers who need help protecting their rights on the job. They give workers access to quality jobs and remove systemic barriers to employment. To sign up for free career readiness training, get involved in organizing around anti-discrimination, learn about union apprenticeship programs, or sign on to a trade registry, please visit www.lablackworkerscenter.org. That's lablackworkerscenter.org. Together, we can beat the black jobs crisis. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts, hosting community seminars with supporting black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, and downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity.
KBLA Talk 1580 stands for Unity and Healing. African Focus Incorporated is a nonprofit organization based in California that focuses on the growth and well-being of Africans all around the world. Their mission is to promote the well-being of people of African descent through knowledge and appreciation of one another by building a bridge of love and understanding. African Focus Incorporated strives for cultural, educational, and economic growth. They're the organization behind the African Family Induction Ceremony, African Goodwill Awards, African Focus Trailblazer Tours, African Dance Competition, and Showcase Los Angeles, Family Day, Good News Windows Microfinance Project, and more. To volunteer, travel with African Focus, or to attend one of their community building events, please call 310-676-7730. That's 310-676-7300. Or visit AfricanFocus.org. This is a diaspora-wide community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're a veteran with a service-connected disability that is directly impacting your ability to work, resources are available to help you find employment. VA's Veteran Readiness and Employment, or VR&E, can assist you with finding a job that uses your existing skills. Or, if you're interested in exploring a new field, a VR&E counselor can help you determine the right education or training options for a new career. Find out if VR&E is right for you by visiting va.gov/VRE today.
KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Go back to when they walking in the club. Play that belly from the top. Yeah, play belly from the top. Then I want you to go to the scene with her and Shorty and that blue. Act bad, 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 act bad. If you look good, 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 act bad, act bad, act bad, act bad, act bad, act bad, act bad. Act bad, act bad, act bad. My act bad is activated. Hey, look, act bad.
You're locked in to hour 2 of RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Listen, I am the chair dance VIP. You're all my VIPs, but I'm the chair dancing VIP.
I feel like I need to start sea walking everywhere.
You can, or you could just, get into your moment. Listen, I am that person. I hear a hot track, I'm a bop a little bit. It's the natural vibe
For
in
sure.
me. You know what I'm saying? And I gotta wake myself up.
Oh no, we're gonna be woke. It's gonna kick in about 20 seconds because I saw y'all comments. We don't have the itis. We're not going to sleep because we're professionals. Okay.
And on top of that, I didn't eat the whole meal. We did exactly what we said. I sampled, and then we're saving it to go home.
Well, I might have had a whole plate.
I know that's right.
No, because I didn't eat all day for this. Because I knew it was coming. So I was like, I'm not eating all day.
I didn't eat all day. Well, I had some chips.
I had a smoothie this morning for breakfast, and that was it.
But I was waiting, so.
Oh, definitely.
All right. So shout out to Annie at Soul Delicious
I've been
LA.
going to her for a long time, and she just genuine and nice. And what really made me start talking to her, I didn't tell this story on air because I was going to save it, but what made me start talking to her is she used to have pictures in the restaurant
of like Nipsey, right?
Of everybody.
Yeah.
So she had tons of pictures of Tina Marie. So I looked and I was like, girl, you know Tina Marie? I was like, I know Tina Marie too. So we start telling these Tina Marie stories, and that's how we kind of bonded. And she just started telling me her life story one day, and I was like, girl, have you wrote a book? Because you need to write a book, all these stories. And it was just funny to me that I meet these people, and we kind of have parallel stories in the sense that we orbit, celebrities, and just be at people's house kicking it at touring them, people that you would never think. But it's also indicative of it's an LA experience too.
Right,
so
very much so.
It's, things that you wouldn't get anywhere else but here. But I love Annie. And like everybody else, black folks, it's like, who is this white lady, and just leery and me being me. So I asked questions. I'm going to investigate. And she was just authentic and genuine. So once you just talk to somebody and you really feel them on a soul level, all that other stuff dissipates. But she's great. I appreciate her a lot.
Well, we love that. So speaking of authentic and genuine,
yes,
Diddy,
not him,
Puppy.
Not two words that you would use to describe him.
We know he's suing Diego. They were in partnership for De Leon Tequila, also for Ciroc. They received money during the pandemic. There was emergency funds that were given out for certain businesses. They are alleging that Diddy funneled more than $100 million into the venture. Well, that they used that money. $100 million, but Diddy only gave $1,000 and a promissory note, all the while demanding for himself the title and benefits of equity ownership. Remember, this is a countersuit because he sued them alleging racism, saying that they were not investing equally into his alcohol brands as they were from the other more established ones, or the ones that were leaning more to a white consumer base, right? Well, they have a response to that. They said, in May of 2021, following Diego's public commitment of $100 million to help with COVID recovery for the hospitality sector and underprivileged communities, Mr. Combs demanded that Diego pay him the $100 million and threatened them to reach out to every news outlet to burn the house down and cause maximum damage to them and the De Leon brand by making public accusations of racism if Diego refused to write the check. They said that his baseless accusations and allegations are nothing more than a poorly veiled attempt to weaponize racism in order to line his pockets even further. So what do you think about that?
I was going to say money grab, but he said it in a very nice way, very legal way. I was just thinking in my mind about the marketing of Ciroc alone.
They said that they've paid him nearly $1 billion since 2007.
And it makes so much sense that they did that because Ciroc, you couldn't go anywhere without seeing a Ciroc billboard. You couldn't open a magazine without seeing a Ciroc advertisement. You couldn't go anywhere without somebody talking. You couldn't go into a club without seeing a gigantic Ciroc display. Every time you were going into a club, there was a time period where everything and everybody, it was Ciroc on lock. I can tell you that it was in the 2010 between 2012. Those 2 years alone, Ciroc was everywhere, and in order for a product to be everywhere, that costs money.
So
period.
It goes one step further. Listen to this, right? Diego, they're accusing Diddy of showing little interest in the firm's own commitment to diversity and equality. The lawsuit claims that when invited to join Diego's diversity initiatives that will provide financial support to HBCUs, Diddy declined to be involved. They said, in fact, he tried to discourage them from working with other African American business people or influencers on this particular initiative. Now, his lawyers deny all of the allegations and insist the company failed to support the De Leon tequila brand, and claiming that in comparison to more popular tequila brands in their portfolio, De Leon only received a distribution of 3.3% into the liquor stores compared to Don Julio, which is about 36%, which they also own. I don't know, though. They're going to hit him with the shoulders with that one saying Diddy didn't want them to contribute to HBCUs
I believe
and be involved. I believe it,
and
too,
you know why?
unfortunately.
Remember when we talked about this a few weeks back? I said $1 million, like all of a sudden he started giving $1 million to these schools. And I was like, why is he all of a sudden just giving $1 million? And then I said it wasn't enough. That's the reason why he was doing it, because he knew that this was going to come out, that he was contrary to giving money and participating before with HBCUs. God bless him. Like, this is nope.
Urban Spencer says zebras stripes don't change. What did Aubrey tell us about what he did with MTV to get more money? You're talking about Aubrey O'Day. Yeah, well. Jeff Will went back to Soul Delicious. Annie said soul food is healthy, contrary to popular belief, as long as the ingredients are organic, grass-fed, and pasture-raised. And Pretty Brown Mimi simply says, I love oxtails. So listen, all of that, facts. Diddy, we're going to have to see what the facts of the case bear out. Obviously, through discovery, we'll get more into it. But I could definitely see him maybe wanting to take, I'll say, a wait-and-see approach to their diversity initiatives. Perhaps he had a reason why. Maybe he felt their approach was left of center. We can speculate all day. We don't really know, but
he just strikes me as one of these people who's like, oh, I've got my liquor brand
I want to be the only one.
Yeah, I'm cool. I don't need to be nobody else. I got this online. I can just see it now.
Well, I don't know.
And that's a shame.
Get
because
your popcorn.
as much as he reps Howard and talks about Howard and this and that, like, you come on, Sean.
I will tell you this, and I think I've said this before. The Love album, Off the Grid, pretty nice.
I like that Mary song.
It's a couple on there, some nice little bangers.
And oddly enough, I like that Justin Bieber song too.
I like the Jazzy song. It's a couple other ones. I think it's Homecoming. Jazzy's called, Andy.
The Jacquees song is my jam right there.
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple things. There's a lot of things that you could perhaps say about Diddy.
Sure.
But as a producer, and we know that he does not necessarily make beats or make the music, his ear, though, I've been in the studio with him when he was working on the Last Train to Paris album because I had a friend on that album. His ear and what he hears in tracks and what's missing and put it in, it's a skill.
I don't know if it's a statement, a question. You know, as we're talking about Diddy, we're talking about R&B. He just dropped the Love album.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we talk about his ear for music. When you think about 90s R&B, a lot of it was, Babyface. A lot of it was maybe Teddy Riley. But I think you can make a strong case that when you think about 90s R&B, that you got to think about Diddy and Bad Boy.
You absolutely do. You got to think what he did with Faith. His impact on Mary, at least the first album. I mean, that sound. I think that the hip hopization
I was gonna
of
say
R&B,
late 90s, mid to late 90s, sure.
I mean, so Bad Boy dropped in about the mid 90s.
Yeah.
Bad Boy dropped about 93, 94.
Mm-hmm.
So that's about the mid, and then come on through the Shiny Suit Man era.
Yeah. I was just thinking time wise
Total?
and Sonic. Oh my God! Please don't talk about Total. I love Total.
Total is a shout out to Keisha.
Sitting home waiting for you. Oh my God!
Sitting home waiting for you.
I will go off on that
Kissing
song.
you.
Oh, don't
no
start.
one else. Listen.
And had those girls in the projects. I can't deal with it.
And here we go. Danity Kane's album had some singles.
Oh, let me tell you, all Danity Kane, their whole catalog is fire. Even that DK3 album, fire.
And we saw back in the day, and I think it's really a shame that he doesn't allow the Making the Band reruns to air. Maybe he doesn't want it to look bad. I think that there's a lot of stuff that was said on there that is not politically correct currently that could get a lot of people in trouble. But that show, what I appreciated about those Diddy years is that you really did understand, one, what it's really like to get put through those paces and rehearse and be ready and on point. And that is why if you went to that Bad Boy reunion tour back in 2016, those performances tight, that stage show tight. Nobody was out of breath, looking, puffy and appreciate the pun, looking, bloated and stiff. They were on point because Diddy gives you that. When we come forward, we'll have more on this topic. And of course, we'll get into SZA and her comments about Drake and her fans claiming that Insecurity is her brand. All of that and more. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right. Yeah. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency. All over Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face. When it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah. Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
And when I left the oven on, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan.
Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
This season, your coffee orders are getting warmer, and your outfits are getting cozier. The world keeps changing, and so does COVID-19. That's why this season's COVID-19 shots have been updated. They're one of the best ways to help protect yourself against COVID-19. You can get a COVID-19 shot at the same visit as a flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC. Talk to your healthcare provider to learn more and schedule at vaccines.gov. And don't forget to get extra cinnamon spice. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action is the youth component of the impactful CBO, known as the Community Coalition. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action has chapters at almost every South LA high school. Say Yeah, as they are popularly known, is located at 80th and Vermont but serves young people all over South LA. Under the COCO umbrella, they train youth organizers, help underserved scholars prepare for college, and work with students to help them gain admission to top universities. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action fosters teen activism, where young people have led campaigns moving tens of millions of dollars to South LA schools and forcing officials to make AP classes available to students in under-resourced institutions. SCEL scholars have taken part in the March on Washington, been published in major news outlets, and been elected to city council. Long before she was mayor, Karen Bass started the program when she founded the Community Coalition. To donate, volunteer, or enroll a student in South Central Youth Empowered Through Action, please visit cocsouthla.org. cocsouthla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Welcome forward, VIPs. You know, it's been a good night. I always like when we can get some music history in, especially as it relates to LA, because we talk about it a lot. We share a lot about what it means to really be an LA native, right? And why the experience, like, we aren't just paying lip service to that. You know, people often say, oh, do you just see celebs walking down the street?
We do.
Yeah.
We do. And we hang out with them.
And they're our neighbors
our
and whatever.
Went to school with them.
It's just a different thing. And listen, that's a flex just to be like, yeah, Prince used to send me notes of encouragement growing up as a child. You know, Rick James and Prince were battling over my friendship because of their beef with one another. Like, that's history.
That's a major flex. But I'm even thinking about my own experiences at the time when I was around legends like that. And it's so, you don't get it when you're like sitting in front of them and having the experience. Like, you think it's just a normal occurrence, and it takes like years, later. It's like, oh, I was really friends with that person. Like, wow.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Andy?
It sounds like you guys were never starstruck growing up here in Los Angeles, because I feel that way. Because I've been asked, like, yo, you see Snoop Dogg? I'm like, low key, yeah, you kind of see them sometimes. I've never been starstruck.
I think that it's very much different because, one, Hollywood is in our backyard. So we always know that, yeah, Hollywood is this magical place, but it's a real place where there are real jobs, and we see people going and, every day. It's not like this far off fantasy land. We know what it is.
I think for me, I was starstruck one time. The first celebrity that I ever met, and then that was it. The first celebrity I ever met was Vesta Williams.
Really?
Yes.
Congratulations.
As she came to the Meteor Man premiere, and that's where I met her at. So she was like the very first celebrity outside of, Robert Townsend and other people that I had already seen and interacted with. So after that one time, it was like, oh, this is just normal in how it goes.
That's interesting. I have no idea who the first celebrity that I met was. I would imagine it was probably a classmate's friend. I mean, a classmate's parent. Yeah. A classmate or friend's parent. Probably 6 or 7. But that's kind of, yeah.
I think once you, like, the first time, it's like, oh, wow. And then after that, it's like, oh, it's normal.
Although I met Janet Jackson in the Fox Hills Mall back in the day, and I was a little low-key starstruck because she approached us, and it was kind of like, Janet Jackson wants to come and talk to us and chat with us.
This had to be in the 80s.
90. Dang. It was in the 90s.
No, give me, because in my mind.
It was after Rhythm Nation.
Okay, because I was in my mind, she wasn't that friendly of a person to walk up to people and approach them.
Well, let me tell you what happened. My friend had I think it was a 5-foot, what are the ones that you can have as pets? Boas? Is that the one? Is it boa or python? I can't. Whichever one of those is the common pet
pythons
that people have. Is it pythons or boas?
It's pythons. I think boas are the ones that are illegal because they're more poisonous.
Boas strangle you. I don't know. Well, one of those. It was 5 feet tall. The snake's name was Mimi. I was scared to death of Mimi. Mimi was big.
Not Pretty Brown Mimi.
Not Pretty Brown Mimi. Shout out to you. No, this was a snake, and the snake literally was as long as my height. I didn't mess with Mimi, right? But we went to the mall, and she had Mimi with us in the mall, and she had Mimi around her neck. And Janet saw us, and that's what made her start talking to us.
Because she had a snake, too.
She had a whole zoo, the whole menagerie. Remember, she used to keep the key on her earring. So
yeah, similar to those.
Yeah, low key. I used to put a key to nothing on my hoop.
I have something for you.
Do you really? Is it Janet related?
It is something Janet related.
We're gonna see this.
But I told you that I was gonna give it to you a long time ago.
I probably forgot.
Yeah.
Urban Spinster says there's less than 6 degrees of separation here. So many people know each other in some sort of way. I do believe this is my Janet bracelet.
It's the Janet sign bracelet, yes.
Oh, and it has the key, the key that she used to wear for the animal cage.
And it made me think about that. And I was like, oh, let me get some. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Now, if you know me, you know I love Janet.
Yes.
Janet's a Taurus. Grew up idolizing Janet. 2 Taurus women. Brown skin, beautiful, on TV, Janet Jackson and Kim Fields. So there you go. Those were my aspirations. So we're going to get into a little bit of this Drake story, and then we were going to talk about it in hour 3. Before we get into the main event of hour 3, I hope you guys are ready, because we're going to get into this conversation about alleged pretty girl privilege. Is that real? Is there pretty girl privilege? Is it a real thing? Light-skinned girl privilege? Does that happen? Are there any drawbacks to it? And what does it really do for you? We're going to get into all of that. Pretty Brown Mimi says, who takes a snake to the mall?
A pretty girl.
Look, my homegirl, she's the model. She was a video girl back in the day. She is the lead in or featured in a lot of your favorite videos from the 90s. So, it was her pet, just like some people walk around with their little dogs. Her pet was Mimi, and she rolled with Mimi, and I didn't mess with Mimi. So that's that. But when we come forward, let me give you a little bit of the details. So, SZA dated Drake. And on his song, he even said, he was something alluded to. I can't remember what song it is, but he was like, oh, you want to listen to some SZA? Wait, that's cool. But we used to link up back in 08. Well, SZA said it was actually 09, because in 08, she would have been underage. And that would have been, a problem for some people. So she wanted to make it clear. But she said the reason why she and Drake did not work out is because they were really, really young, and it was a childish relationship. That's it. She said it wasn't hot or heavy. It wasn't anything too serious. But, that's what it was. And we know that they have that song together now, that Slime You Out, that everybody kind of forgot about, where he used Halle Berry on the cover. But we'll get into SZA addressing people saying that her brand is Insecurity because of her surgeries. She talks about her surgeries, and because of some of the topics that she features in her music. All of that and more. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Hour 3 is up next.
She a bone crusher. That's right. She like to dance slow, don't rush her. That's right. I will but I don't trust her. If you ain't got no money, don't touch her. Yeah,